to the TED Talks YouTube channel. I hope you subscribe, hit the little bell button as well so you get notified when I upload content. I am here again with Mr.
Adam Rana.
Remember I did that to you last time.
You did this last time, wasn't it?
You've been practicing, So, we are going to talk about service accommodation, but if you follow him on Instagram, you may have seen or realised Adam was travelling over the past, how long have you been travelling for?
7 months.
Wow, 7 months. Okay, so I haven't seen you, for 7 months plus. And you were in Dubai actually working and setting up a business there, which is pretty awesome because I don't think you were expecting that or...
Yeah, well, I kept it hush-hush for a bit, but yeah, that was it.
So, Dubai's an interesting place, full of influencers, right? Full of kind of like people who are going out there to make something and the tax rules are different and all that kind of fun stuff. But you set up a business in Dubai, in lockdown, in Corona, within these sort of 7 months that you've been out and about. I mean, this is something that I think people dream of,
Yeah, you could say. Yeah.
So, obviously it wasn't necessarily intentional at the start. What made you, one, go to Dubai and then two, decide to set up a business there?
Yeah, I think you made a good point about how in lockdown and COVID and stuff, one of the main reasons we did this, because I'm very big on like diversification of any sort of business, in property, whatever you're doing, right? Any type of business. So that was one of the big things. COVID taught me a lot, how things can go up and down. And Dubai was kind of born out of that because it's like going, kind of like ticking off the box in the dream ambition, because I'm quite ambitious. I do like taking risks. As people can see from other episodes that we've done, my journey from last 2.5 years to going to Dubai. So it's all been like a progression to getting to Dubai and being ambitious and mainly diversification, as I said. So that was the main reason to diversify my business. I am a keen advocate, or my main bread and butter is service accommodation. Again, we've done loads of podcasts on that. And I said, look, what's next and how I can secure my income, basically, not just UK. So if there's a lockdown in the UK, there wasn't a lockdown in Dubai. So it's using the world for where there's opportunities. So that was the first step. That was the thinking. It all starts in the head, guys. I think if I could use this to inspire people, that's what it was. So I'm sure there's a lot of people who like a good lifestyle, sons, going to the beach and all of that. If you could include that and do a business there, live the laptop lifestyle. It's not laptop lifestyle, by the way, so I was on the road. So I thought of that and said, look, if I can mix this together and put the hard work in, we talked about hard work in the last episode. If I could do that and, go try it. So that's all it was. So that's why you say why you didn't know about it, because I was scared of, like, if I told people, I said, okay, if I didn't do it, by being honest, I would say that's the reason I didn't tell people. When I went out there in January, early Jan, I did my market feasibility study, done my research, everything, competitors, and I said, look, it's hard, but it's not that hard. And literally just had to put pen to paper, register the business, and just go for it.
And how much did it cost? Obviously, you're not a national there. What did it cost for that whole process of being able to open a business there?
I could go into detail, but I'm going to keep it overview. So anyone who starts a business in the mainland Dubai, it will cost you in thousands. Like I'm talking over 8, 9, 10,000 in pounds sterling.
Okay. There's definitely a significant investment up front before you can even do anything.
Yeah. So if you want to do a proper mainland business, like here in UK, what, 50 quid?
Well,
so,
yeah, if that. Yeah.
If that. So there's a massive difference on that. So that's the reason. It's about thinking big. So I'm a keen advocate of saying that I'd like to think big. So which people would be spending 10 grand? It's definitely, as a beginner, you can still. I still class myself as a beginner, like I wouldn't say, and we're still learning, because going to Dubai is still a new thing, new country, new laws, everything is totally different. Of course, the business principle is the same, so you can copy the business principle, but in terms of learning wise, for local laws, I still have to learn it. What we did is we raise finance a lot, so people can get an investor to invest in the business, which is what we did, and it's out there, it's all in the open. So like, I raised finance, so it's talk about no money down, so essentially that's what we did. So we raised finance to expand the business into Dubai, to pay for the expense, right? But I think not focusing on the startup cost, I think it's more about dreaming big, and it's not just Dubai, people can do in America or any other country. If you love property can be done anywhere with risk, like managing risk basically, So I did risk mitigation, make sure everything is risk mitigated before I actually started the business. So yes, the cost was high, but the returns are it's cost versus the cost versus the results. So the results are quite good.
With the kind of feasibility, I suppose, from what I'm seeing of Dubai, lots of buildings. Don't know if there's enough people to match the buildings. When it comes to your feasibility there, who is your main customer in your essays?
So for us, that was a fully tourist market for us. We went out there for tourist market. Yeah, we are expanding into the business travelers. The reason we ruled out business travelers was because, well, I say business travelers in like short-term business travel. There are people moving there to like work from the laptops, so the old nomad lifestyle, the influencer lifestyle. So that's created a big market for Airbnbs, service apartments. So a lot of them don't have residency, so you can't. This is all come from the research, right? So you can't rent a place unless you got a residency card, as in long-term rent. So you're gonna end up looking for short-term, monthly, or 2 monthly, or 3 monthly, until you get your residency. So, which is what I was doing. So, I ended up renting for my own business eventually. But this is one of the reasons we got into it. So we targeted people like that, people who come in there to experience the lifestyle of the laptop because of COVID. That was one. And then tourism was coming back. The only country that was kind of open for tourism, where you could go anywhere. People who follow me on Instagram saw that on my story, everything was open. Even when there's lockdowns in the UK. So those were the two things that really made us really take the step, because we could see the market, and then we just grow into it. And a lot of people forget that you can't. I'm a keen. I'll voice my opinion on this. Like, I don't want to be thinking 5 years, man. I just in the next 12 months it's gonna work, and then it will just grow into the next 1 to 2 years, and the next 36 months, and the 48 months. Because market is always changing. You just got to keep up with the market, right? So that's where our thinking comes from. Goes back to the point again. Think big. At a macro level, think big, and micro level, do the things for the next 12 months and see where that takes you.
And how many units do you now have in Dubai?
We have 5.
5, and that was literally a couple of months.
So it's registered the business in March. We're in July, August.
And how have you found, obviously here landlords still have a bit of resistance to this, maybe less so because they've heard about it from, but over there, is what you're doing very common, or was everyone like, oh, that's a strange concept?
That's again a good point. That is one of the reasons that research showed that we have in Dubai, we have permits, regulations around service accommodation. You have to get a tourism license. So you need to be approved as a company when you register as a limited company to get the license to be able to get individual units with the landlords. Because of these basics that are in place, and I'm a keen advocate of the fact that the UK should do this, because what that does, it doesn't stop you doing service apartments. It actually creates a structured and a safe environment for both guests and working with the landlords and the building and all the hassle that comes with it and the bad press that you get in the UK. Kind of takes that out. Yes, there are strict laws in Dubai, I understand that, but it's like a benchmark it creates for only professionals to operate.
Like kind of licensing, but that never works. But interesting. Okay.
So that, and in terms of a landlord point of view, the reason it worked from a landlord point of view because the market is full of investors. So the people who are owning those apartments to rent are mostly investors. So they don't usually have an emotional connection to their apartment. So they're like, make me the most money, right? So that's
so if you're doing that, then have it.
So we make about 20. So we do. So one point I wanted to touch on. We don't do guaranteed rent. Well, at the moment we don't do guaranteed rent. So what we do is a managed only model. So you as a landlord will say, Adam, I want this. So on average 25, 30, 35% more than a yearly rental yield you will get in Dubai. So we will come to propose this model, or you'll come to us through our marketing, and because of all of these structures in place and the permits in place, people are quite happy and feeling safe that the apartment is going to be looked after. Whether people look after it or not, that's a different thing, or the license laws are adhered to, but it creates the image in a landlord's head that we got these things in place to be able to make the 20-30%.
Okay, that makes sense. I suppose money talks, right? So whether it's a new concept or not, if you can prove and you can with your case studies here that it's working, then it's working. And Dubai has a lot of choice from looking at your stories and just looking generally. What were you looking for in apartments there? Because there's lots of nice ones. So how were you deciding between which one is just the right one for you?
Again, it goes back to, and I talked about this in the podcast, if you go listen to this, one of the podcasts I've done with you, it's about customer service and emphasizing on the customer quality that we're providing. So there are lots of companies out there. So if you Google, there'll be lots of service apartment companies, just like in UK or in America, wherever you're talking. what changes puts us ahead of these people who've got 200 or 300 or 400 units, right? So we emphasize on, yeah, look, we give you a one-to-one personal service, right, to the landlords, from the landlord side. Same for the guests. We really focus on the customer service and the quality of the property. So you say there are high quality properties, but some companies or some people, individuals who are doing this, on paper it will look like, on pictures it will look like it's good quality, but it's not actually when you get there. So the competition is tough again, but then I think competition is tough everywhere, right? In the UK as well. The way we're doing it, we're going to do it. So my ethos in the company is we're going to do a 5-star best. We're going to provide the 5-star service, and if we do the best that we think as a team we do the best, we will succeed in front of the other operators of the people, in front of our guests. So there is no magic formula. So we go in and we say, look, this meets our location demand, and this is a checklist for the standard, and this is our end customer that's looking for this standard. Yes, we take this, or we don't take this.
And when you're furnishing it there, you know, are you going more expensive and higher end naturally?
Yes, we are. Yeah. So we again we targeted the higher end clients. Yes, because it's driven from the question that the question you ask is, and you say the statement that you make that it is a higher end place. People know it is a higher end place. So because when you're flying to Dubai, you already got the high expectations. So naturally, we had to go the high end packages. When we propose to our landlords the furnishing packs, we're going for the high end. But as I say, the difference between the operator A and operator B is the service, which I always say is whether you're in Dubai or UK, focus on your service, the customers come. The reviews speak for ourselves. If you go look at our reviews, we got over 1,000 reviews, and we're excelling in them. That speaks a lot, because people look at our UK reviews and then they say, okay, you inclined to do the similar type of job, we carry the same principles, same ethos to deliver the service in Dubai.
And you know, with Dubai, how much is each property roughly going to be making you? What's the kind of return?
This is where I talked about the management model. So in fundamentally there's two models if you're not buying the property, right? So if you're running as a property management service accommodation operator, you're either going to manage someone's property at a percentage, X amount to 18-20%, whatever you're doing, or you're going to say, here's a guaranteed rent. I take over all the risk and I make whatever I make, and then you don't have to worry about for a year or two. We don't do this. We just do the management model at the moment, which the reason we do that, it reduces the risk. So there's no initial investments for me to do this furnishing. So landlord takes over that, and then we make straight cut 18%. So we charge 18% in Dubai. Depending on the property, you could charge 20, but we charge 18% standard. All we got to do is pay people's salary and software charges. So the profit margins are, if I was to monitor in sterling, so if we make about on management fees about 500 quid, 600 quid per property.
Okay.
But remember, this is not guaranteed rent, so it's management only. So 600. These are 1 or 2 beds. Yes, we haven't done the 3 beds and the 4 beds and the big. So we're early stage. So we call it a beginner in Dubai. So we're looking to make about 900, 800 on management fees alone as we scale up.
Okay, I mean, again, look, you know, if you look at the numbers of 500-600 on management only, given the benefits of that, you know, it's a significant amount when you multiply it by a couple. So,
yeah,
you know, that kind of totally makes sense. And, you know, it's in Dubai, you're here. I know you're going to be sort of living there and here and whatnot, but how are you managing it? Because you're not flying there when there's an issue.
Yeah, so again, this is where your processing systems and your team comes in. So because of my learnings here, what I did in the UK for over the last 2.5 years, I took everything but improved it a level and picked it up and put it into Dubai, right? So we have a good team, we have good processes and good systems in place. For me, my phone does not ring to say, I don't know, the heating is not working or whatever, right? I can't check in as a guest. So I have a process and a team there. It doesn't cost a lot. We only have 2 employees, right? Depending on the type of labor, so the labor can be really cheap or it can be really expensive depending on who you're employing. So that's in place. We got the systems and automation in place to make sure that doesn't happen, that I'm not involved as a director or the CEO of the company, and I'm at an arm's length from there. But yet I have a business operational 24/7 in a different country.
Wow. And finding staff there, how did you do that? Just through your networking?
Yes, so good you touch on networking. One of the reasons I've gone global is I went there on my own. Well, I went there with Mr. Ludlow, he was there and stuff, but yes, we network in our own circles, but mainly to go into the actual technical side and getting the right staff and the right people and the right partners, I had to network. So thing is, all of this has come to life because I network by doing like just going for dinners with different people, and you recommending me of someone else that lives there and tried to do it, or got connections in real estate or whatever. So literally telling everyone, goes back to the basics when people say, tell people what you do. Like when I was meeting, say if I met you today, I would say I do service apartments, I'm looking to expand it. This is before anyone put pen to paper and I was saying looking to expand it. So the people say, oh, are you? And I've got this guy in mind, I've got this guy in mind, we should talk to him. Even doing the legal paperwork, like I didn't know who to talk to. Like literally, it's what you know now and what you don't know now.
And who you could know as well.
Yeah, exactly. So when I went in January, I didn't know how you set up a business. So again, it goes back to the point, I want to use people to use this as an inspiration. If I can do it, everyone else can do it. And I did it by talking to people about it. I said, how do you set up a business here? What do you do? You know, getting different quotations, like how you get builders to give you 3 quotations. I went to 3 different companies who set up businesses.
It's asking that right question. It's having the confidence to just ask it and expect that, that people will help you, especially with things like that. When it, and that comes from networking and having the right people you can ask.
Yeah.
Because obviously certain people are not going to be helpful, but you'll soon get them out of your circle. So I think a lot of people look at the cost of networking. Oh, 30 quid a ticket, or going to Dubai is 500 quid. But you make that a month now on one property there. So I think it's very difficult to do because I still do it and have done it. Instead of looking at the cost of something, look at the return on that investment.
Yeah.
If it's nothing, then don't spend it. But if it's something immeasurable like fun or family, or if it is, well, I could make this much if this all goes to plan. That is a risk and a reward I think most of us would want to take. So I think people need to look at, and I know you do this, maybe not consciously, but you look at the return on it.
Yes,
not the actual cost.
Yes, so yeah, it's true. So this when we're talking Dubai, I will have to be honest, it's intermediate advanced level, right? So I have put staff in, I have put people in. Like, you wouldn't do that like we talked about in your other episodes in here. You would try to save cost and make sure that because you're on the ground here, we had to do that, but the returns on scalability, it's immense because the way the country's built or the structure's built, that's why all these big companies and influencers and all of these people are going there, because it's scalable, because there's money there. There's investors there, there's people there with a lot of money who are going to spend the money. So yes, you need an investment, but I did look at the ROI. Of course, the ROI is great, return on investment, and that's one of the reasons I've done it. So again, don't let the investment put you off if you've got the ambition and the drive, because that's what it was. It's just a drive and ambition. I literally went up there and just networked with everyone. Went to networking events which had nothing to do with property, and then there was someone in there that knew someone in property, or someone in, we call it holiday rentals there, not service accommodation. And he was like, oh, my mate works for a company who does holiday rentals, and then just say, okay, cool, I'll add him on Instagram or I'll add him on Facebook. And then the guy was like, yeah, I'm happy to help you. It's literally as simple as that. If people can use this inspiration, and that's what I did. It was no magic formula again.
It never is. It's just a chain effect of hard work and consistent work to keep going to the events. With one event, you might not meet anyone of interest. Yeah. Next one, no one. The third one, you might meet someone. So it's putting in that work, and that actually kind of brings us to a nice close, because one of our next videos, we're going to talk about risk taking and mindset and scaling up. So Adam, thanks again for this video.